Hi, everyone. My name is Joseph, and today I wanted to discuss The Big Short, a movie directed by Adam McKay that released on December 11th, 2015. And the cast for this movie, it's quite extensive, but I'll go ahead and list some of them. Um, it consists of Christian Bale, who portrays Michael Burry, Steve Carell, who portrays Mark Baum, Ryan Gosling, who plays Jared Vanity, Brad Pitt as Ben Rickert, Jeremy Strong as Vinny Daniel, Marissa Tomei as Cynthia Baum, the wife of Mark. And then we have a lot of other guest appearances from multiple actors and celebrities as well. So this movie I've only seen twice. The first time when it first released, so it's been about 9 years since I last seen it. I did see this movie in theaters, and it caught me off guard when I first watched it. I went in expecting to have a drama, based on a modern historical event, but not the kind of movie that impressed me so much when it finished. Um, for example, I can't remember the exact title of the movie, but I do know Steve Carell. He did do a comedy based on modern history that Enron, that company that unfortunately went under, and a lot of people ended up losing their jobs. Only went under because of the mismanagement by those who were in charge. But that was much more of a comedy, and I would argue that that movie was again a comedy. Excuse me, and it wasn't really trying to inform the audience. It was just using an event that occurred to have a comical movie. When it comes to The Big Short, on the other hand, there are elements of comedy, but I would argue that this movie is mostly a drama, but not a dramedy. There's drama with light elements of comic relief. And it's also a historical, maybe I'm not saying that correctly, but I say historical study. I mean, an examination of the steps that led up to the collapse of the housing market of 2007 to 2008, 2009. So at the same time, while one is watching The Big Short, you're entertained by the subject matter, but you're also learning about the entertainment matter. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of convoluted what I was trying to go through right now, so so pardon me about that. But so when I first went to this movie, I was expecting more a dramedy, I suppose, and I came out getting a lot more from it, realizing that this is a drama with scenes that were just comical, but it's not meant to. At the end of the day, the movie's go is not to make you laugh, but the movie's go is to make one become aware, while also laughing because it's just so outrageous. You're laughing because you're in disbelief that, well, this is realistic, that this was a true story. There were a couple elements, a couple scenes where the movie breaks the movie breaks meta narrative quite often, breaking the fourth wall. And there's one part where Ryan Gosling even states to the camera and the audience that this incident actually did occur. The incident where Mark Baum speaks up to, I think it was the CEO of Berenstein's bank, or maybe it was of Chase or one of the big banks maybe, but he asks him some very important pointed questions, even implying that it's going to lead to a huge collapse, and of course he's ignored. And he ends up getting a phone call in front of everybody. He ends up just walking away. And apparently that's exactly how that incident carried out in real life. So I've yet to have looked into it in complete detail, so I am curious to see how accurate that statement is. And in the movie, it's also just bittersweet the way that it ends. Like, I'm only laughing because it was so it was done so well, but also it's quite sad too. Um, Excuse me. Essentially, the movie ends with the Ryan Gosling stating that everyone who participated, or rather, everyone who had a hand in the late to the housing collapse, this economic disaster, was held accountable, and they all went to prison and they were collected and sent off, right? But then Gosling's character states, Vinity's character, he states, no, I'm just joking about that. Only one individual was arrested, and for doing something that essentially everyone was doing at that time. He was this individual who was where the blame was placed. It's not like he was the mastermind behind this or the one that decided to the mastermind behind it that instigated everything. He was just one of many cogs that helped to expedite this unfortunate incident that occurred in the 2007 to 2009. That was weird. So with all that being said, one might be wondering, well, why would I want to watch a movie that leaves me feeling such a way that it might leave you feeling a little bit upset? And I would say it's because it's always good to be informed, and this movie does a great job about that, of informing the audience Well, it's true. It will make one, if you are paying attention, it will make one's blood boil a little bit. It will make you clench your fists and think to yourself, man, what the heck is going on? How the hell the taxpayers end up bailing out these corrupt cransuckers? Um, it's unfortunate to say that this is a fact of life, a facet of life. And the more that one becomes aware, the less likely that it's going to occur again in the future. Because there'll be people to hold other people accountable. And unfortunately, the people who were aware about this, and the movie even makes a point about this, excuse me, about this detail, were all the individuals who were working behind closed doors, were all the individuals who were essentially working within Wall Street, within the banking world, within finances. Anyone beyond that had no idea the shoddy behavior that was going on, these shoddy financial decisions that were going on in order to make a group of people, those who were working in finance, to become quite rich, while those who were not within finance, we were the ones who took the brunt of the fallout. I say we because I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you're probably not working in banking. If you are working in banking, hopefully in finances, hopefully you're not like one of the individuals within the movie, and hopefully you're one of the individuals who are going to try to hold other people accountable. So yeah, again, it is true. I'm not gonna lie. I started watching this movie quite happy, quite being entertained. And then as the movie went forward, I was like, oh wow, now I'm getting upset. Oh wow, now I'm getting a little bit sad. Oh, now I'm starting to enjoy myself again. Oh no, now I'm upset again. Oh no, I'm sad again. And by the time the movie ends, I felt informed, entertained, and and dare I say, this might sound a little bit dramatic, but since I said I was informed, I felt enlightened. Enlightened because I understood such an important part of history that took place while I was participating in. I was alive for that period. I do remember hearing stories about it. And enlightened because after I finished the movie, I did look up into these the synthetic bonds, the MBS. I'm probably not saying the correct acronyms, but essentially they were just another word for another type of bond, and this all this wording that was used to make it seem like it was creating something new, but it was just a way to continue doing what was already been done. But they couldn't do it that way because all those loans would default, all those loans wouldn't have any payments. So again, it was just the banks acting in a shoddy manner to go ahead and will make money despite the fact that they shouldn't have been making money from these kind of loans, from these kind of bundles, those synthetic bonds and everything like that. So yeah, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I really would. If you haven't watched this movie in quite a while, I would recommend that you check it out, to rewatch it again. I'll be frank with everyone. The first time that I saw this movie, I think I was too uneducated. That sounds harsh, but I think all of us, if one is living their lives correctly, we're all always going to be more ignorant in the past, our past selves versus our present selves, because we're all constantly growing, right? But I truly believe that I was able to comprehend and thus enjoy this movie a lot more compared to when I was younger. Just because obviously when I was younger, I was still in school. I was yet not in my career. I was working, but it was a part-time job and etc. Right? So if you guys have seen this movie, I'd love to hear your feedback, your opinions. Before I end off this video, I talked so much about the real aspects of it. Excuse me. Let me talk about some of the movie parts of it. So I already discussed how the movie breaks the fourth wall. There's at least 3 to 4 scenes uh, where Ryan Gosling's character interrupts the narrative and quite literally states, here's so and so to explain this financial detail, this financial term. And then the camera shifts and the scene is completely different. Those were done really well. I'm not gonna lie, the first one that occurred with, I was a little bit, I was this close to rolling my eyes thinking, oh great, this is going to be one of those kind of, not obnoxious, but kind of like smell your own, farts kind of video. Artsy fartsy kind of video. There we go, artsy fartsy kind of movie. But I was happy to see that that was not the case at all. The reason why I didn't roll my eyes right away is because, again, the way that it was utilized when it first occurred, I was enjoying it, and I was just worried where it might lead. And thankfully, the movie, the director, and the story writer, actually, I think I did state the director, but I didn't state the story, who wrote the story. So the director was Adam McKay, and Michael Lewis is the individual who wrote the story. And in just in case I didn't say this is all based upon a novel. The novel is called The Big Short Inside the Doomsday Machine. So yeah, so again, the breaking the fourth wall via these explanations is done really well. Ryan Gosling's character is also the one that wow, actually he's not just the only character. There was other minor characters as well. I forgot their names, but the 2 young individuals who were working with Rick Brad Pitt's character, I believe his name was Rick. Give me a quick second. Ben Rickard, excuse me, the ones who are working with Ben. There'll be a couple of incidents where they'll just be doing the scene, doing actual dialogue, and they'll stop and they'll look at the camera and go, "That actually didn't happen, but we're just doing this for the sake of the movie. What really occurred is this, this, and this." I thought that was really cool. Cause what a great way! Because obviously this is an adaptation of a book. It's a movie for an adaptation of a book that's covering something that occurred in real life, and so I'm pretty sure within the book that scene is probably much more accurate. But for a movie, you need to change that scene. Maybe the scene in the movie also did occur in the book, but they needed to skip the beginning part where that cast of characters, that segment of the story, how they discover about the short bonds. They needed to expedite that. Excuse me, some of my words sometimes. They need to expedite that. And so, what better way to go ahead and ignore that part, do a new section, and have the character to literally break the fourth wall and explain to the audience this is not how it actually occurred. It actually occurred in this manner. So, I thought that was very done. I thought that was done very well. All the actors were great. I'm a big fan of Christian Bale. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10. One is not really going to have too much critique, in my opinion, about Christian Bale's acting. Brilliant as Michael Burry's character. Everyone else was just as great. Ryan Gosling was a lot of fun as Jared Vanity. Brad Pitt did such a great job as Ben Rickard. One of my favorite scenes is when Ben is with those two other individuals. I forgot their names. Let me see if I can see their names right here. Was it Danny and Jamie? Maybe not. Excuse me, but if you guys watch the movie, you know who I'm referring to. And they're in Vegas and they start selling these crappy bonds. Essentially, they're betting against the banks. And of course, everyone thinks it's crazy to do that, but they're happily doing so because they have the background information, the backstage, the background. What do you guys know what I mean? the insider information. It may look like they're doing a bad choice, but in reality, just give it some time, and they're actually going to be making doing quite well for themselves. And the two younger characters are quite excited because essentially they're going to become, rich, dare I say, millionaires. And so they're dancing about this, and Brad Pitt's character, Ben Rickard, he just turns around and says, "Stop dancing. You shouldn't be dancing." And he explains that people are going to lose their homes, their jobs, their careers, their livelihoods. It really puts everything into perspective. And just thinking about it right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting like the sad chills. The sad chills because it's a real detail. That detail was a fact that he stated. And the movie again, they do a great job of showing, not just telling. And we, the audience, get to witness. We get to see what impact these bonds, what impact this economic collapse had upon not just these fat cats in suits, but also just regular people as well. And yeah, like I said, this movie, when you're done watching it, you are left feeling a little bit in disbelief in a good way. But you also are left entertained while at the same time quite informed. And thus, if you do end up doing some research, you end up becoming a little bit enlightened, or at least more enlightened than the way you were before, than what you knew about this incident before watching this movie. So, yeah, would I recommend this movie? Yes, I really would. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you guys to check it out. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. Unfortunately, I don't think it's streaming right now, but it is on sale on digital services for only $4.99, and I highly do believe it's more than worth $4.99. So, if you guys have seen the movie, please let me know who was did you have a favorite character? Did you have a favorite scene? Another great scene was the one between Mark Baum, portrayed by Steve Carell, speaking to that one adjuster, or that individual when they were in the restaurant. Well, oh man, that was such a sad scene as well. And the way that it ends when he tells Mark Baum, society places a value upon us. Let me tell you my net worth, and you tell me yours. And I love how Baum just tells him you're essentially a disgusting human being, and just walks away. And of course, that banker just laughs, right? And then of course, another really great scene is with the actor from New Girl and his buddy. They're both loan officers, and they explain that they're just giving out loans to everybody, including ninja loans, no income, no assets, no problem. That's what a ninja loan is. No income, no assets. Those two sign you up. And Steve Carell's character pulls aside two other people that he's with in his team, and he just tells them, he asks them, why are they confessing? And they both look at him, and they're not confessing. They both look at him, and they tell him they're not confessing, they're bragging. Just such a crazy scene that's just so well done. And yeah, so I'm going to go on a tangent. Now, we're not a tangent because I will be talking about the movie, but I'll just be talking about the scenes. Again, if you guys have not seen it, I highly encourage you guys to watch this movie. If it's been a while since you've seen it, if you haven't seen it since it last released, it's definitely time for a rewatch. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. As always, I do appreciate your engagement. Have a great day and take care.